What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is game day. We are fired up. Louisville Friday game day, which I kind of like. My schedule is a little different. I'll be working at the game, so it's a little easier to get there. But it is just a showcase game for the Miami Hurricanes. The only show in town on Friday when it comes to TV, national exposure. Hopefully watch a great performance by the Canes at home, packed house. If you're thinking about going, please do. Let's pack this thing. Let's create that atmosphere. Let's make this a thing that you see every single week when you turn on the TV, because the country will be watching this game. If they're home on Friday, this is what people will be watching. And then Saturday, we can watch everybody else, hopefully basking in a great win. So I like Friday. I will be at the Lickin' all day. So basically, I'm going to record here. I'm going to watch watch my daughter with my wife kick butt in her recital today, and then we will go to the Lickin' and enjoy phenomenal performance of the Canes. If you're trying to plan your day, I strongly recommend heading out to the Lickens in Miami Gardens. We will be out there. You can beat the traffic. There's going to be a ton of traffic leaving, everybody's workplace, going to the stadium when you get off work. Beat that traffic. Go to the Lickin', especially if you get off work early. Go to the Lickin', right there, Miami Gardens, about 5 minutes from the stadium. Park, you eat, you drink, you enjoy yourself, and then boom, when it's time to go to the game and everybody else is going to the game, you're already in Miami Gardens, so you go right there. Easy deal. Strongly recommend Lickin'. Also, if you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Chat's fired up. D Hucks, Canes, Cats, all the usual. Appreciate you guys. Rick Sullivan, what's up, man? Yeah, we got to get that electric juice going here in this stadium. Philip Rusomano saying, new Tame Impala album and game day. Can't get better than that. RIP to A. Freely, one of the greatest guitar players, most influential guitar players of all time for Kiss. Vincent Jenko, what's up, D? No school today. I'll be at the game when the game's over, tailgating. Go to Lickin' first. That's the name of the game right there. Let's see. A lot of people listen to this Tame Impala album. Put on Kiss debut album, Firehouse. You want to hear a great solo. Celebrate the greatest guitarist of that era, the guy, the most influential guitarist for sure. Canes Cat heading to Lickin'. Appreciate you. Game day. E. Lugo. Hope your son's okay. There you go, selling some tickets. Before we even get started on this, serious note, RIP to Joe Joseph, former defensive lineman for the Canes in the 2000s from that Orlando area. I don't know the specifics. I just saw, the Facebook and the social media stuff that he passed away. And I mean, obviously just a tragedy, so young. I think it was like 39, which is just, it sucks. He made the NFL. I believe he played maybe a game or two. So he was able to reach that level, played for the Canes, started a lot of games. So, I mean, accomplished more in football than 99.9% of the people that ever put on a helmet. So shout out to him and his legacy, and, praying for him, his family. It's just, it sucks. And too many for people from that era that have passed away. It's just, it's heartbreaking, but just want to get that, said first, because that's obviously the most important thing. And our prayers up to his family and all his loved ones. So switching gears to the game today, we talked about it, and we'll talk about it here on the pregame shows we're going to do from the Lickin' again. We're starting up at 12. We'll probably be live at 12 around there, lunchtime, and we'll be going all the way through up until maybe like 5, and then we head to the game. We've seen a lot of you guys out there. Always good to meet people at the Lickin'. So we'll be doing a lot of pregame coverage with Pete. But, one thing I want to get to, because I thought this was a very interesting tweet from JD Pickle on 3. Really good analyst. I believe he played Ivy League football. Just a really high energy guy. I like his content a lot. And one thing that he said on his tweet, I'd pull it up, and it might be a copyright violation, but you can check out his Twitter, JD Pickle, Pickell. He said that he thinks Rueben Bain has a chance to win the Heisman because the teams that we are playing, including the team we are playing today on Friday, are some of the worst pass blocking teams in the country. Now, I don't agree necessarily. I just think it's so hard to win the Heisman. He had to have like 20 sacks. He only has 2 right now. Obviously, his impact is elite, best defensive player in the country. But he makes a good point, which is that if there's going to be stat padding, it is going to be happening right now. And I'll pull up the stats to show what I'm talking about. So you look at our remaining schedule in the ACC, not including any ACC championship game, playoff, etc. I guess the ACC championship game when it comes to Heisman candidacy or whatever, that'd be like kind of the last show. We'll see who makes it there. Hopefully the Canes make it there. But I'll take you through a little statistical journey. I like to use team rankings. Whenever I use stats, I'm pretty much always using teamrankings.com because this takes away some of the FCS stat padding games and really shows you who's who and what's what. So go to stats as we walk through here. Passing offense. This is when you talk about how do I when I'm going on the show and preparing, what do I look for when it talks about a team's pass protection? And to me, the best stat is right here, QB sacked percentage. This is a pretty simple stat. It's how often is your quarterback getting sacked per drop back, right? So how often they dropping back and getting sacked. Now, I'll caution, it is still very early in the season. You've had a lot of kind of fluff games. You were getting into conference play. Miami's actually played a tougher schedule than pretty much every team in the country. So when you see Miami here at 21, still very good pass protection, but I think this is actually the best pass protection line in the country along with Utah up here because Miami's played better competition than all these teams and shut them down. Utah, even though they have 2 first-round tackles, I'd actually put Miami above them because Utah, when they faced their toughest test against Texas Tech, struggled. But you know, Ohio State, Utah, Miami, those are the teams you look at here. And I think this will equalize over time. So it's still early, but there are certain things that are just glaring. And I'll start right here. It's like control F, Louisville, 105th in the nation in sack percentage. It shows up on tape, certainly shows up in the stats. 105th in the nation in sack percentage. That's 7.74% of the dropbacks for Miller Moss and the Louisville Cardinals result in sacks. Not very good. NC State, a little better, 79th, 6.31%, but still very low. I think some of this is the fact that CJ Bailey can avoid sacks himself. He's an athletic player. Syracuse, similar deal. Athletic quarterback, but still 6.52% of the dropbacks resulting in sacks. That's 84th in the nation. What about Stanford? 119th in the nation. What about those cold weather games? You're going to go to Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech at the end of the season. 110th in the nation, Pittsburgh, in sack percentage allowed. What about Virginia Tech? Boom. 112th in the nation in sack percentage allowed. So, moral of the story is we are playing some really, really bad offensive lines. Rueben Bain is going against some really, really bad offensive lines. And that bodes well, not just for Rueben Bain, but for Messidor, for Armando Blunt, Marquise Lightfoot, the defensive tackles. I think everybody's going to be able to feast on these offensive lines if they play to their ability, which, of course, we've seen Miami fall off towards the end of the year in these ACC games. So Miami's got to take care of business on their end. But yeah, I certainly think it's encouraging that they've gone through the hardest part of their schedule from a pass protection standpoint and dominated those teams. Dominated UF, which is a highly ranked offensive line. They had the worst pass blocking stats, I believe, in the history of PFF, according to what PFF said on their show, going against Miami's defensive line. That's one of the better ranked offensive lines in the country, Florida. Notre Dame, same thing. So you get past that stretch, Florida State with their weird offense, USF with their weird offense, and now stat padding time if you continue to play at the high level. Kyle Muncie, if the Heisman for the best player in the country, would no doubt be Rueben Bain. Yeah, I'd agree. Rueben Bain, Jeremiah Smith would be, to me, the 2 best players overall. And Bain, what he does with the run block, the run stuffing, the pass blocking, I think it's hard to beat. Let's see what we got in the comments here. Cedric President waiting for revenge on Georgia Tech. We'll get there. A lot of questions about recruits showing up at the game. Derek Cooper will be there. Owens, the safety from Atlanta, is traveling down. He'll be there. There'll be a few others. So we'll see. Johnny Lagoon, welcome back to the office, man. Hope baby Lagoon, mama Lagoon are doing well. Raising Cane, does Bain finally start turning pressures into sacks? It's another part of this deal. Miller Moss not as mobile as Castellanos, CJ Carr, DJ Lagway. So Some of these guys are going to be in trouble if Miami can play at the same level that they played to this point against better competition. Carter asking, is the wide receiver pair is going to be at the game today? No, he'll be here next week, I believe, next weekend, and he will be on commitment watch because Miami's doing a really good job recruiting him, and he is an unbelievable player. Lisa Snow says she can't wait till 1900, 7 o'clock for the game. Lisa, loved your boxing analysis in the chat yesterday with K9, with Steve Kim. Got to get you on one of those boxing shows. You were breaking it down. Green Tree says, I'd rather keep Bain and Messidor fresh and healthy than stat padding. A lot more games to go. Good opportunities to get younger guys involved. Yeah, no question. You don't want to stat pad. This team's trying to win a championship. I just think, like, in the actual competitive part of the game, it is going to be very, very tough to stop Rueben Bain and Messidor and all these guys. Marquise Lightfoot, he's someone, he has 1 sack. I could see Marquise Lightfoot is the kind of guy that on a good day, I could see him getting 3 sacks. He's so explosive, so fast. He can run you down. He can beat guys off the snap. He's got spin moves, all that kind of stuff. I could see Lightfoot having just a monster day. Good morning, and Milan. Yeah, we got a lot of shows coming today. We got today, this show right now. We're going to do, I think, probably 3 from the Lickin', and then hopefully, we definitely have a post-game Pete show after the game, hopefully a post-game celebration like the last 5. Kevin Dennis says, Bain's arm okay. Seems like he doesn't always wrap up. I think he should be fine. I think he should be fine. Look, if he gets a hold of Miller Moss, I think Miller Moss is going to be in trouble. It's not like Tyler Shuck last year, and I talked about this earlier, is Tyler Shuck, when you watch the game, this is the quarterback for Louisville last year, actually signed out of high school by Mario Cristobal up in Oregon, since transferred a bunch of places, got injured, went to Texas Tech for a minute. But last year at Louisville, he was a 6-year player, big player, athletic player for that kind of passer, and a good arm. And he avoided a lot of sacks in that game. Miami killed Louisville's offensive line in that game, but he was still able to elude, make plays downfield. Miami's defensive backs, we all know what the story was last year. So he had 4 touchdowns and a lot of plays that would have been sacks for another quarterback. He was throwing it away, throwing to the running back, getting the ball out. So he was very, very elusive last year. Was Tyler Shuck. So, I think that's something, an element that will be different this year with the Miller Moss, who's just not as elusive as Tyler Shuck. So this could be a big game for Rueben Bain. Could be a game for Messidor. Hopefully a good game for the Canes. Because as Carter mentions, this is all that matters. Get the W, stay healthy, get some run for the younger players. No style points is in BCS. Win every game. The rest of the year, win the ACC, and there'll be a lot of happy Hurricane fans. You can win every game by 1. You'll be fine. I don't think that'll happen, though. The winning by 1 part. I do think we'll win every game. Brandon Rosenbaum says, you can bet Brom's going to run a lot of different screens, misdirection, throwbacks to offset our pass rush. No question, this is going to be priority 1 for Louisville, is avoiding the pass rush of the Miami Hurricanes and protecting their poor offensive line. That is going to be their number 1 priority. You're going to see a lot of quick game, a lot of screens, maybe some moving pockets, just different ways to avoid Miami's pass rush. And Brom is one of the best, if not the best play callers there is. But, the guys got to play, and Miami has a decided advantage in terms of the players they have, including Rueben Bain, who I think is going to really, really put he's already up there, but this stretch, I think, is going to be where he just completely dominates if he stays healthy. Peony Boys, appreciate your support as always. Says, can't wait to see the smoke and fire tonight. Fletcher going to have 2 TDs, total of 6 sacks for us today. I'll take 6 sacks. Like I said, a lot of it's going to be about the opportunities. It could be that Louisville's just getting rid of the ball and their offense is stagnant because they can't get downfield, and a lot of 3 and outs. We'll take that too. Randy Ellison saying 42-21. I'll take that. Go Canes. Johnny Lagoon says, can Lance Roffers be hired to be the stats and video analytics coach? Would love that. He's got a pretty good job from what I understand. But yeah, Lance is the man. You could see him on the show we recorded previewing Louisville. The video's up there on our channel. His whole segment breaking down Louisville. And yeah, it was unreal. You can check that one out on YouTube in the archives. Crumbly saying, Torrey going to eat tonight. Could see him getting a lot of pressure. He's a pass rusher. Don't forget, Torrey led Rutgers in sacks every year he was healthy. So that's going to be a tough matchup. All right, before we shift out of here, want to remind you guys, if you are an athlete, consider yourself an athlete. You're someone that wants to be active. You know how hard it is to deal with an injury, trying to hack your own rehab, get back on the field, on the court, on the track, whatever it might be. But if you don't want to compromise your performance, you don't want to compromise your movement, you want to be as good as you can be, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether it's a league competition with the University of Miami Athletics or just everyday movement, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. All right, let's see. Vincenjenko saying a big day for Beck. RS is seeing a big day from Lyle. And Milan saying Louisville offense plays in the hands of Miami's defense. Just by watching the film and the style of players, the defense is going to play lights out. Yeah, look, they can't run the ball and they can't pass protect. Those are two problems. They can hit explosive plays. That's going to be priority number one for Miami. Stopping Chris Bell, who is, to me, one of the best receivers in the country, period, point blank, first-round type talent. And then Colin Lacey, you're stopping him really with the ball in his hands because he's already returned 2 kicks. He can do things with the ball in his hands. And Isaac Brown, you saw what he did last year when he hit a big run against Miami. Keeping him away from that big run. Because if you could stop Isaac Brown from that one explosive play, he's not going to kill you just by pounding you. That's not his style. And Louisville in general has run the ball very poorly this year because they can't block. JB asking for my thoughts on Louisville's defense. I think they're playing a lot better. We talked about a lot with Lance Roffers. If you want to check that video out yesterday, just the specifics of it. But I would say in general, they're playing a lot better. Number 50, Lubin, pretty good pass rusher. The other guy is at 23, is a solid pass rusher as well. The linebackers are both former safeties from Georgia. They kind of blew up and gained weight into linebackers. So they both had interceptions, I believe, against Pitt. They can get back there and cover, but they're not necessarily the most physical guys. Stanquan Clark, another former safety from Miami, he's out. He was their best linebacker. So I think the linebackers you can run at. I think the defensive backs are pretty weak. Louisville's had good defensive backs in the past. I don't think this is one of those years. They don't tackle very well. They don't run particularly well. Number 4 was getting cooked in his last game. So I think, if you could protect Beck, which more than likely you can, given what you've done to this point of the season, they're going to stack the box, try to stop that running game, because they just can't physically match up to Mark Fletcher, to this big offensive line. So I'm assuming they'll play us very similar to how FSU played us, which allows Carson Beck to drop back and have very favorable matchups all over the field and let it go. Heel's asking if I've seen the AI wrestling videos. Yeah, man, I was in a wormhole of those, seeing Tupac cut promos and all that. Yeah, those AI videos are a little too realistic, man. We're going to have to be dealing with a lot of fake news on this show in the future. I could already tell, having to dispel rumors when someone makes a video of one of our players saying something or, some kind of fake thing. Hopefully they don't make AI of me. I'm not that famous. Ladarius Benson saying another interception for Bryce tonight. Kid covers more grass than the OrchidMan. Great comment. And a setup, by the way, for a great promo and a great company, and that is OrchidMan, ORCHID man. The OrchidMan. You want to talk about landscape artisans. That is OrchidManFlorida.com. Again, ORCHID manflorida.com. Covering South Florida from Palm Beach all the way down to the Keys. They make your landscape maintenance easy. You don't want to think about a lot of this stuff. They'll do that. They'll work with you on the pretty stuff, help you order flowers and all that kind of stuff. But then they'll do the dirty work: sprinkler repair, irrigation, tree trimming, manicure maintenance, tree removal, relocation, tree stump grinding, fertilizing, hurricane prep, landscape lighting. Whether it's commercial or residential property, they do everything, and they do it for the absolute top people around. That is why they're the best. You had him. You saw him on the show on Wednesday. The OrchidMan was awesome. Huge Canes fan, huge Canes contributor. I saw him at the Hecht on Wednesday. He knows everybody because everybody knows the OrchidMan. That is ORCHID manflorida.com for all of your landscaping needs. Fence Post saying Louisville's going to struggle to score. I agree, man. They are going to struggle to score. It's going to be tough. Their offense has not been particularly good this year.